Hello, my name is Dylan Nasor, and I'm a member of the Sam Rayburn High School AP Global Challenge team. We're presenting over the first topic in the packet, how to protect coastal populations from negative effects caused by the warming of coastal waters. We hope that you enjoy our presentation, but most of all, we hope that you'll use it to alleviate some of the misfortune caused by these problems. Both of our problems in this presentation are caused by climate change, which is the natural cycle the Earth goes through as it warms and cools. This wouldn't be a problem except for the fact that humans have accelerated this process by polluting the air with greenhouse gases. This accelerates the rate at which climate change happens and has led to both of our problems, the attack on coral and coastal storms. The first problem we're going to be talking about today is the attack on coral, which is more commonly referred to as coral bleaching. Coral bleaching is when the symbiotic zooxanthellae that inhabit the coral and give them their color leave because the coral can no longer provide them with the nutrients necessary for them to perform photosynthesis. Now, this can happen for any number of reasons, but the most common are when the coral undergoes a constant temperature change, which can be as little as 1 degree, or the coral is in too acidic or too deoxygenated an environment. Now, this may not sound like too big of a deal. A few coral are turning white. But here are the reasons why we need to fix this. Coral are a keystone species in the oceanic environment and provide the ocean with all kinds of necessary nutrients. Nutrients like oxygen, which every organism needs, and provides homes and breeding grounds for fish. Not only that, but to go to the human benefits of coral, they provide a good place for fisheries to get bountiful harvests, provide many islands and exotic coastal places with their main industry, which is tourism, and the home for the fish also benefits humans because it's how many people survive and live in poor coastal communities, by farming from the ocean. This is why we need the reefs, and we've explained our first problem pretty well, but now here's the second one. Coastal storms. Now, when we talk about coastal storms, we don't just mean storms in general, we mean their increased frequency and ferocity, as you can see on the graph right here. You'll see that before 1994, hardly any storm ever got near this 15 per year line. But after that, nearly every single one was at it, above it, or near it. And these are just the tropical storms. The amount of major hurricanes has also increased, meaning that not only are we seeing more and more storms, they're getting stronger. And this position is supported by multiple credited sources, as you can see from our quote from livescience.com, a published certified scientific journal. Now, we've told you what's happening with the coastal storms, but we've yet to tell you why it's a problem. Well, aside from the obvious destruction caused by any major hurricane or even a small tropical depression, hurricanes, cyclones, and any tropical storm can absolutely wreck any coastal community's economy. It can cause coastal crops to fail, it can cause the destruction of a fishing industry through loss of boats or death of fish, and more importantly, it can just cause sheer loss of life. Humans who live on the coast are in great danger because of this problem, and it's something that we need to try to fix as soon as possible. To show that these problems really affect everyone, we move on to the next slide. On a global scale. So not only is North America affected, not only is Africa affected, Asia, the Caribbean, South America, Europe, countries and people all over the world are experiencing these adverse effects and being hurt by them. So if that doesn't beget the need for a quick and effective solution, I don't know what does. Thankfully, that is exactly what me and my team have provided. Our solutions are genetically influenced corals and eco-towers. First off, here are the corals. A genetically influenced coral is going to be markedly different from a GMO, which worries many people when they even hear the word because they're concerned about it becoming an invasive species because it has a selective advantage. With these, on the other hand, the coral isn't spliced together from other things' genes, and it's not anything different than what's already in a reef. Genetically influenced corals are simply corals that have been bred together to produce something that is stronger and better suited to handle the changes in the environment than either of the parents. Now, me and my team came up with this theory, and we were pretty sure it was going to work, but we wanted to be absolutely sure. So we thought we'd consult an expert. Dr. Ruth Gates at the University of Hawaii, who we've contacted and I've personally corresponded in email with, has validated our research and said that it can indeed be done. And the way we're going to do it is by taking coral that have been exposed to adverse conditions already and have become somewhat resilient to them, such as ones found off the western coast of California, and breeding them with weaker corals who are in the reefs that are being affected by the bleaching. Once those two corals are bred together, under mildly adverse conditions, not so much that the weaker one would die, their offspring is going to be so much better able to handle it than either of the two parents. That offspring we would either continue to breed or implant into the new reef, so that the bleaching would have to stop with at least one type of coral, which would then begin to repopulate the area. Now, to avoid this one coral becoming an invasive species, we would have to do this with several different breeds, which might take a little bit of time, but it is more than worth it. Now, onto our next solution, the eco-towers. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, what is an eco-tower? Well, an eco-tower is more commonly called a vertical farm. The vertical farm isn't an entirely new concept. As you can see from the PowerPoint, Dr. Dixon Despommier has looked at it before, but we're applying it in a bit of a new way. The towers conceived by previous people have been more focused on providing efficient and low carbon footprint farming. And while our new tower will do this just as well as the other ones, its main purpose is going to be to provide food to populations in post-coastal disaster areas. Now, in addition to food, it can also provide shelter and jobs to boost the economy and keep people alive. The only thing many people are worried about with this is the cost. And yes, it's a little pricey. $85 million to build a standard tower, not taking into account how it'll have to be customized to withstand storms, provide more housing, and just be more efficient. But this cost, when compared with the millions or billions of dollars industrialized countries like North America or Europe provide in relief aid to less developed countries after these storms, the cost is nothing. Because after these towers have been implemented, we would have to provide practically nothing. The people would already have a shelter to retreat to, they would already have food on the table, and since the tower would be built for more than just subsistence farming and agriculture, they would have a way to jumpstart their economy. All of the issues, or at least the biggest ones, caused by coastal storms and their increased ferocity, have just been solved. Now you've seen what our solutions are, and you understand them pretty well. So let's move on to why they're going to make a difference. What kind of change they're going to make. Let's start with our GI corals. Our corals are chiefly designed to benefit the environment by providing fish with new homes and reoxygenating the ocean and reducing acidification so that climate change is slowed back to a somewhat normal rate. But they also produce so much for humans. Everyone from huge fishing industries to small villages that just subsist off the ocean are going to be benefited by this. Tourism's going to liven up. People are going to be able to catch fish more easily. This solution is going to enact so many wonderful changes. The only downside is it might take a little bit. But that's okay because we have our eco-towers. Eco-towers that are designed to be strong and resilient and practical. Add on to all of that, they're cheap. The towers provide people a place to go when they have nothing else. When their houses have been destroyed by storms, when they can't go home, our towers give them a place to go to. It gives them a place to get food so they know that they will get through it. In addition to just the personal level of confidence and hope it's going to inspire in people, it's also going to help nations economically because it will reduce how much relief funding we need to give to people, and allow small countries that we give so much relief to be independent and survive on their own. So as you can see, both of our solutions really are revolutionary. However, despite how wonderful the solutions are, we still need one more thing to make them work, and that's cooperation. Cooperation from all the world's nations. These problems are not continent-specific. They don't discriminate between social class or wealth or race. They affect everyone, and they affect everyone negatively. So what we need to make these solutions effective, to make it to where they can really help everyone, is for everyone to help in enacting them. All nations, big or small, wealthy or poor, industrialized or pre-industrialized, can help in some way, whether it be donating money, scientists, and high-level facilities to help breed the coral, or just helping in the sheer construction of the buildings. Every nation, everywhere, has something they can contribute to this cause. And not to do so would not only be counterproductive and damaging to themselves, as well as everyone else in the world, but simply morally wrong. And with that, we conclude our presentation. We've said everything we can to persuade you to enact our solutions. All we can do now is hope that you had a great time and that you listened. I leave you with a final statement. A little bit of change can go a very long way. Have a wonderful day.